There has been a very popular opinion in tech since ages. I hate performance reviews. I got amazing peer feedback and nothing happened. No promotion, no salary increase, just vibes. And the conclusion, the system is broken. But here is the uncomfortable idea. What if the system is working exactly as designed and you are just seeing 30% of it? Most engineers experience performance reviews like this. You request your peer feedback, you read nice comments, maybe your manager writes a summary, and then silence. Neither context nor explanation, not enough transparency. So it feels like only my peers know my work. And the people making decisions, they don't know anything. Sounds logical and also incomplete. So what actually happens? What you don't see is the calibration process. This is where the real decision happened. Behind closed doors, managers and senior leaders compare engineers across teams, discuss impact, not just activity, challenge each other's evaluation, and this is the key, normalize standards. Because without calibration, every team would have 80% of top performance and 20% of rock stars. Which is statistically nonsense and does not make sense for the company and people. As an engineer, you cannot derive learning from positive feedback that is similar to what everybody else received. The company, on the other hand, cannot decide who to support and how to reward top performance. If everyone is good, no one is good. So instead, leaders in the calibration round ask, compared to others at this level, where does this person stand? Not did they do a good job, but how strong is this job compared to the rest of the company? Performance reviews are not about your story, they are about your position in a system. So here's the harsh truth about visibility. Let's address the emotional core. Nobody in that room worked with me. How dare they judge me? Fair question, but here's the counter question. Why didn't your work reach that room? Because in strong organizations, impact travels and reputation spreads. Names come up and discussions. Even for mid-level engineers, not because they self-promote aggressively, but because they solved something that matters. They influenced other teams and they became known. If nobody can speak about your impact might be local, and local impact rarely drives promotions, big raises or strong ratings. It is actually not bad. Some folks may simply enjoy what they are doing locally and be paid for that. But then no need to complain that your contribution is not recognized as the one of the next level. It is the case when doing more of the same keeps you where you are. In order to move forward, you probably need to do things a bit differently. So why peer feedback feels misleading? Peer feedback is important, but it has a bias. Peers see efforts and collaboration, and usually peers are nice to you. It is a good marker you are doing good, but it's not good enough marker to recognize whether you are hitting the next level bar. What they don't always see: relative performance and business impact, trade-offs and opportunities you possibly miss. So you get amazing teammate, super helpful, great energy, which is great, but not enough to answer, are you outperforming your level? And there is another uncomfortable truth. Most feedback in performance reviews is useless. Not because people don't care, but because they don't know how to write it. You've seen it. Great teammate, very helpful, pleasure to work with. That's not feedback. That's LinkedIn politeness. If your feedback could be copied to 10 other people, it's not feedback. In strong organizations, feedback follows structure. One of the most common is simple: situation, behavior, impact, next steps. Situation: where did it happen? Behavior: what exactly did the person do? Impact: what changed because of that? And next steps: what would you make it even stronger? Let's give a weak versus strong feedback example. So here is a sample of a weak feedback. She communicates well. Strong: during the Q3 incident, you coordinated between backend and product clearly, which reduced confusion and helped us to resolve faster. To grow further, you could proactively align stakeholders before incidents escalate. Now it becomes usable. Now a manager can take this into calibration and say, strong in execution and growing in proactive communication. Now it becomes evidence. Good feedback is not just structured, it's anchored to something real like company principles, job level expectations, team goals, agreed focus areas, because without that, you are evaluating people based on vibes. Feedback without reference point becomes opinion. So let's say a few words on negative feedback. A lot of engineers are afraid to write it. They think, I don't want to hurt the person, but here is the reality: no constructive feedback, no growth. And in performance reviews, no growth signal, no promotion. There is no negative feedback, there is only clear feedback or useless feedback. For example, bad. Sometimes struggles with large tasks. Better. When the system redesign was proposed, you hesitated to take ownership of the full scope. To reach the next level, stepping into ambiguous, larger problems is expected. Kind feedback feels good. Useful feedback builds careers. So what can you do as an engineer? If you hate performance reviews, here is the practical shift. First, optimize for visibility, not noise. Share outcomes, not activity. Write concise updates. Make your work legible. Second, expand your surface area. Cross teamwork. Present results. Help outside your immediate scope. Third, make your manager's job easy. Give them clear narratives. Provide evidence of impact. Don't expect them to discover your greatness by themselves. Careers don't grow in private, they grow where people can see them. So here is a little bit of an advice for engineering managers. Now, let's be fair. The system often fails in communication. If you are an engineering manager, first explain the system up front. Your team should know calibration exists. Peer feedback is partial. Comparison is real and helpful. Second, translate decisions. Don't say, you did great, but no promotion. You'd better say, here is what you need to grow in order to meet the next level. Third, give forward-looking feedback. Not you are doing well, but here is what moves you to the next tier. A good evaluation system without good explanation feels like randomness. Now, let's talk about something even more uncomfortable: biases. Because even with perfect structure, humans are still humans. Performance reviews are systematic, evaluators are not. There are a few classic biases that show up in every calibration room. Halo effect. One strong trait dominates everything. Assuming great technically must be great at everything, even if communication is weak. Recency bias. You remember the last 2 months and forgot the previous 8. Quite common for the annual evaluation rounds, when folks in the room may either tend to forget or do not count on past achievements. Mini-me bias. You rate high people who think like you. I like the way they approach problems. Translation: they approach problems like I do. That's why they are great. Because I am. Visibility bias. People who speak more look stronger. People who quietly deliver get underrated. So what good organizations do? Good calibration is not just a discussion. It's challenging each other's opinion and thinking. Managers should actively ask, what evidence supports this? Is this one example or a pattern? Would we say the same if we didn't know this person? Are we overweighting recent events? Calibration is not an agreement, it's a controlled disagreement. And here is my advice to managers. Before you enter calibration, check your own biases. Separate liking from performance and bring evidence, not impressions. And here is an advice to engineers. Understand this. Even a fair system includes bias. So your job is not just to perform, it's to create consistent signals across time and across people so that no single bias defines you. If your impact is clear and repeated, bias has less room to distort it. So yes, performance reviews are frustrating, sometimes opaque, sometimes political, but they are not random. They are answering a very specific question: where do you stand among everyone else? And if the answer surprises you, it's not always because the system is broken. Sometimes it is because you've been performing, but not positioning. You can be excellent in your team and still average in the company. So if you have an opinion, share it in the comment. If you like the video, and see you next time.